Okay, so 6 dates to watch out for. 6 dates that are going to act as a heads up for the final date, which is Friday, 9th of March 2018, which is my best friend's 27th birthday. And the first date is tomorrow, Tuesday, 23rd of January 2018. Saturday, 27th of January and Wednesday, 31st of January. The name Jake equals 27 and Jacob equals 31. And the boy that I've connected Jacob Wetterling to is 13-year-old Nathan Breeze, who is an Australian boy. Jake's an American boy, and Nathan Breeze lost his life on the 7th of February 2009. Wednesday, 7th of February 2018 will be 9 years since Black Saturday. But Black Saturday's anniversary, its 9th anniversary, falls on a Wednesday. 9 days later, it will be the anniversary of Ash Wednesday, but it falls on Friday, the 16th of February 2018. And of course, one of Australia's other big bushfire disasters was Black Friday. Now this year, the 13th of January, which was Black Friday in 1939, this year it fell on a Saturday. So these 3 infamous dates for bushfires in Australia, all 3 dates this year land on the day of the week of each other. And then Friday the 9th of March, as I said, is my best friend's birthday. He's turning 27. 2 plus 7 is 9. So the weather in Australia lately has been a bit like being in an oven. It's been baking. Red rain of blood. Blood of the child Riley. Riley. Well, that kind of reminds me of something. This book by R.L. Stine, well known as the author of Goosebumps, Red Rain. It has the same value, 69. And I actually found this book in the Queanbeyan Library a couple of hours after the very first time that I wrote Red Rain equals 69. So the first time I ever wrote that, Red Rain equals 69. So the letters R-E-D-R-A-I-N, by their place in the alphabet, add up to 69. And the first time I ever wrote that was on Halloween, the morning of Halloween 2015, which was Saturday, the 31st of October. And then a couple of hours later I went to the Queanbeyan Library to use the Wi-Fi, and I'm just sitting there using my computer, and I look up and I see this book. And of course, it caught my eye because I had just written that very thing a couple of hours earlier. So I went and picked it up and I started reading the back cover. First came the hurricane. The red rain began to fall. The blood of its victims and the twin angels emerged. So, Lee is in the wrong place at the wrong time. A bit like Jacob and Nathan, in the wrong place at the wrong time. I noticed much later that it's interesting because Evil Boy, if you add up the letters in Evil Boy, it equals 90. Or also Rude Boy or Missing is 90. And Jacob Owen Wetterling equals 233. And 23 times 3 is 69. My last name is Kelly, equals 65. And birthday is 87. So an interesting barcode to have on the library book too, considering who I connected this book to, which was Jacob. First came the hurricane. So Riley is on the name list this year of tropical cyclone names for Australia, and I think Riley's going to be second to last and the 11th tropical cyclone of the season. I was saying the 10th, but there's another one which I forgot to include in my list, Marcus. And Marcus was actually the name of Jacob Wetterling's pet dog at the time that he was abducted and murdered. So Another Jake who was abducted and murdered in fiction was Jake Chambers in The Dark Tower by Stephen King. And the boy Jake Chambers equals 69. Well, he wasn't abducted, but he was murdered by a serial killer. And 6/9, 6th of the 9th. Well, the boy who told me that Wetterling has the meaning weather child, the boy who grew up in Germany and knew German and knew that Wetter means weather, which I didn't know, but I was calling Jake the Storm Boy for a good couple of years before then. And he said, actually it means Storm Boy. It means weather child, because Wetter is weather, and Ling is like duckling, little one. So Wetterling, weather child. And so his birthday was the 6th of September, so I came up with a prediction for his birthday. I decided to go with Jose. I thought Jose, and Jose I said will make landfall at 9:45 p.m. on Wednesday the 6th of September 2017. As it turned out, Jose became a hurricane on that date and maxed out at 155 miles per hour, lasted a total of 22 days. Jake Wetterling was murdered on the 22nd of October, which was a Sunday, in 1989, and 16 days as a named storm. So Jose, bad boy. 4 plus 9, so Jose and bad boy equal 49, and 4 plus 9 equals 13, which was Nathan's age. And it was also my age in 1989, and it was in 1989 that I got approached by a guy at Western Park in Canberra. And so I was 13 then. I think I was pretty lucky to get away from that guy, and Nathan was 13 when he died. And I was saying Nathan was one of 9 people who died at 9 Pine Ridge Road, and the anniversary of Ash Wednesday is 9 days after Black Friday. 13 equals 99. So Nathan David Breeze was one of 9 people who died at 9 Pine Ridge Road, Kinglake West, on Saturday, 7th of February 2009. But he actually lived at number 7, and bad equals 7, and the date was, of course, the 7th. And the temperature that day was 46 point something in Melbourne it got to, which seemed exceptional at the time, but now probably not as much. Wednesday, because we're getting used to this heat. Wednesday the 7th of February 2018, which is the 9-year anniversary of Black Saturday, plus 9 days, lands you on Friday 16th of February, which is the anniversary of Ash Wednesday. 1 plus 6 is 7. Bad equals 7. Nathan lived at number 7, Pine Ridge Road. Sexy. Nice boy. And some people say you shouldn't use the word sexy in relation to a 13-year-old boy, but I'm like, hang on a minute. Nathan had a girlfriend, and he was a good-looking boy, so sexy's fine. Sexy, nice boy, boy Jacob, crazy Kelvin. Kelvin's also on the list of names for this cyclone season, and I've highlighted it because it's the next one. And then after the next one after Kelvin will be Linda. Bad name, Linda Payne equals 40. So Kelvin and Linda. Teenager, the boy Marcus. It's the one I mysteriously left off my list. Cute dog, God bad boy equals 75. Marcus was, like I said, Jake's dog, his pet dog, who he named after a footy player. 7 plus 5 is 12, and 12 is the age of the twins in this story. Daniel and Samuel are 12-year-old angels. Not quite sure. 2 orphan boys appear, innocent, angelic, and thrilled to be adopted by their new mother. But these are no ordinary children. They bring the gift of death, and they want to share it with the whole town. So 7 plus 5 is 12, the age of the boys, Daniel and Samuel, the twins. Evil equals 48. Rude, Jake's favourite word, and Nora. Nora is 48. Nora is also on the list of tropical cyclone names this year. 4 plus 8 is 12. Again, the age of our twins, Daniel and Samuel. Bad snake. The bad snake Rose. Teenage Owen. Owen's also on the list. Owen is 57. And I circled Owen because it's a reflection of Marcus. Marcus, the name of Jake's dog, adds up to 12. And of course, 5 and 7 also adds up to 12, as it's the same numbers. 57 and 75. Rose is also a big thing in the Dark Tower by Stephen King. Jake and the Rose in the vacant lot. 12, 12, 12, 12. Always 12s. Then Jake was 11. Satan's Messiah, Joshua, equals 74. Penny. Penny is also on the name list this year. Penny equals 74. 7 plus 4 is 11. Jake was 11. 11 years and 8 months. And Penny was also the name of a girl, a young lady who died on Black Saturday. Also in Kinglake, Penny and Melanie Chambers. Same surname as Jake in the Dark Tower. So 7 plus 4 is 11. Caned boy, red boy, Riley. Riley. Well, I like Riley as a name because, truth be told, I've been a bit riled up for a while lately because I did a partner visa application and it got rejected after an estimated processing time of like 6 months to start with. We were told 6 months. They stretched it out to 12 months and then 15 months. And then with no information, nothing, they never asked us for anything. Then they just rejected it, outright rejected it. And I think it had a lot to do with my partner's skin colour, to be completely honest with you. I think Australia's government is racist. And I do, I'm not just saying that, I really do. And that goes to who's in charge, been in charge of immigration and border protection, which is Peter Dutton. Not a nice guy. Weather, horny. I put horny in just to get up the noses of the Christian conservatives. Horny Savannah. Horny Savannah. And Savannah's, I think, going to be the last one. The last tropical cyclone this season. Or at least the one that, maybe not the last one, but the one that comes around the 9th of March, maybe? One or the other. Have faith equals 80. Jacob's date. So that's the last one I've worried about looking at is Savannah anyway. And that's despite the fact that Debbie last year was a long time after that. Debbie came on the 28th of March, which was a Tuesday. And it was 39 days after Jacob Wetterling's 39th birthday. Jake would have turned 39 if he was still here on Earth on Friday the 17th of February last year. And if you add up the names of all the cyclones on the list, the first one was Dahlia, and it was named by Indonesia. In fact, Dahlia was named as Mount Agung was erupting in Bali, and Dahlia formed just below Java, Indonesia. Now if you take all the letters of all these names, plus the word Anj, to join the last two, they add up to 741. Which is kind of symbolic of bad brat. Bad equals 7 and brat equals 41. So which of these names is going to be the bad brat? I wonder. The king of brats. The king of brats has a key. A dream. Clue. A clue, a key from a dream. Have faith, Josh 10, 9:45. Well, I saw that written on paper in my imagination as I was waking up from a dream on Saturday the 12th of May 2012, so a long time ago. Josh was a boy at my work who was 11 going on 12 at the time, a blonde boy, and the boys in this story are also blondies, blonde-haired and blue-eyed, that have no trouble getting through Australia's immigration and border protection. And I'm not just saying that because, I mean, like, think about it. How many blondies do you see in detention centres, offshore detention centres? I don't think I've seen a blonde person in there. They're all got black hair, brown skin, dark eyes. As does my my best friend, who is my former partner because he couldn't come. They completely screwed us over in such a huge way that there'd be no point in him coming now anyway. So, yeah, Joshua, Satan's brat, 741. So I'm thinking maybe there's a different side to, like, Christianity. I'm not an atheist. I definitely don't like conservative Christianity. Conservative Christians are just absolute. I mean, look at Donald Trump. Look what he's doing to America. And look at his attitudes. Look at his racist attitude and his attitude of, oh, let's just leave climate change for future generations to fix, after it kills heaps of people. And say no more. But maybe there's another side to it. Joshua, Satan's brat. Yeah, I like that. 741, 741 days. So here's the names again, and this time I've underlined the ones that haven't happened yet. And Saturday, 27th of February, 2016 plus 741 days lands you on Friday, 9th of March, 2018. Yeah, neat, very neat. So who is the king of brats? Is that why they rejected my partner? Did they do some research and discover he was the king of brats, maybe? Who was born on Saturday, 9th of March, 1991? Who is turning 27 on Friday, 9th of March, 2018? Well, that would be my best friend. Who is my best friend? Well, maybe my best friend is Satan, and maybe that's why immigration rejected him, is because he's Satan. That's what I'm thinking. And maybe they decided he was Satan because he's dark-skinned and got black hair and brown eyes and all the rest. So who's my best friend? 666 plus 666 plus 666 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 2016. It's a number, it's also a date. It's 2 years ago. And my partner was born on a Saturday. He's turning 27 this year. My ex-partner, still my best friend, separated by force, love murdered by a horrible government department. Yeah, I don't think that's too strong of words. They did murder our love. They murdered our relationship. It was a very important relationship for me too. It was helping me heal from what happened to me when I was younger. And they didn't care. They just put an axe through it, basically. And they claim to be the good guys. Yeah, well, if they're the good guys, I'll tell you what, I hate to see the bad guys. Anyway, Saturday, 27th of February 2016 was 741 days before Friday, 9th of March 2018, and that's the main date I'm flagging because it is my partner's birthday, 27th birthday. Reflect message of evil, red rain. Message of evil, red rain. It's interesting, in this story, Daniel is the evil twin. He's described as the evil twin. He's the one who likes to have power over people, which is definitely the impression I got from immigration, dealing with them, is that they like having power over people. And that's Daniel in this story. We have work to do, Sammy. Daniel pressed his forehead against the window glass as the school bus bounced along Noyak Road, the tall trees along the side making the shadows dance in his eyes. Samuel shifted the blue canvas backpack in his lap. He knew how impatient Daniel could be. He hoped maybe he would take his time, get to know the terrain, enjoy their new family, their new home at least a few weeks before setting things in motion. "You gave that lug Derek a good lesson, Daniel." Daniel tapped Samuel's knee with his fist. "Derek is dead in the pasture. The flies are already circling him." Samuel laughed, but he could see the growing intensity on his twin's face. "Work to do, Sammy." "What's your hurry, Daniel? Haven't we got it made here?" "We've waited a long time," Daniel murmured, gazing at a deer chewing tall weeds by the roadside. "A long time, boyo. Long time." "But look at us now, we're in heaven." Daniel turned away from the window. He shook his head. "Sammy, it may be heaven, but there's a devil on our cloud." Samuel felt a chill, muscles tightening at the back of his neck. Who is the devil? He knew the answer. The new Pa. Maybe he didn't mean those things we heard him say. Daniel narrowed his eyes at Samuel. He meant them. He said he didn't want us to come. He didn't want Mum to bring us here. And he didn't want us to live in the little house in the backyard. Why? Because he didn't know if he could trust us. That made Samuel giggle. "He can't trust us, boyo." Daniel didn't smile. His normally pale cheeks had turned rosy pink. "Pa doesn't like us, Sammy. He doesn't want us here." And he shouted at Mum. You saw him shout at Mum because she wants to make us happy and give us everything we want. "But Daniel, he doesn't want us to be happy. Pa doesn't want to give us the things we want. You heard him. You heard every word. We have work to do. We have plans, boyo. We cannot let the new Pa stand in our way." Samuel felt the chill again. "What are you thinking, Daniel? Why are you saying all this? We can't kill the new Pa. We can't. It would make Mum so sad." "He's a devil, Sammy. A devil in our heaven." Samuel grabbed his brother's wrist. "Don't think it. We can't do that to Mum." "You're right. You're the sensible guy, Sammy. As sensible as potatoes in chowder. We don't want to kill Pa. We just have to keep him busy." Samuel shook his head. The backpack suddenly felt heavy in his lap. He let it slide to the bus floor. "Keep him busy?" Daniel nodded. He had that thoughtful look in his eyes that Samuel knew well. "How do we keep him busy? What do you mean?" A thin smile played over Daniel's lips. "I have some ideas. We can keep him real busy, Sammy. Maybe with the coppers." So Daniel is the schemer in this story. He's the instigator, the ideas man. And he's the one who loves having power over people. He's the one that wants to rule the school. Yet Samuel's the one who has the gift that enables him to kill. And it's the gift of, it's kind of pyrokinesis in a way. He can make heat, generate extraordinary heat with his eyes. And if he tones it down, he can hypnotize people, and Daniel can then program them to do whatever he wants them to do. So what is the message? The message has been reflected. The message of evil, Red Rain, that this is about. Well, for me, it's about people that like having power over others. Australia's Commonwealth lawmakers and decision makers who seem to insist on being respected are not what I would call deserving of respect. They are very two-faced bullies and thugs. I don't appreciate how you changed the rules and the estimated processing time for our partner visa from 6 months to 15 months before rejecting. You are heartless, mean-spirited and cruel. And I really mean that, because not only did they reject, but they didn't even notify me of that decision. And I went from June to December not knowing what the decision was, what the outcome was. No notification, nothing. And the fee, in case you're wondering, for a partner visa is just under $7,000. I borrowed that, and I spent a couple of grand on printing and scanning, and I did it all in good faith, thinking I was the resident of a country with a fair-minded and decent government that would do the right thing by me. But now I know for sure I'm not. And the reason I know for sure is I found something else out recently about my government, and that is around 4.5 months ago now, it was all over the news that, you know, when I talk about the blood red rain of the victims, I found out that, you know, I mean, it was all over the news that heaps of people were murdered in Myanmar. Muslims, the Rohingya Muslims, were murdered in their thousands. And some of the atrocities that were committed are utterly mind-blowing. You had little boys aged a few months old, or a year old, or a couple of years old, being torn from their mother's arms and thrown into fires to burn. And I was really shocked the other day when I heard an Amnesty International spokesperson on TV saying how Australia hasn't condemned, has completely failed to react to that atrocity. Textbook and ethnic cleansing is how it's been described by the UN and by Amnesty International. I've seen interviews with people, eyewitnesses, survivors, people, mothers who lost their children, who witnessed their children burn to death. And I've found out that my government has not responded at all. There's been no reaction. This is Australia, you know, good old, nice little Australia, I thought. I'm having a beer right now for Australia Day. Australia Day is actually this coming Friday, but I am not celebrating Australia Day on Australia Day this year because I'm too... My country is not what I thought it was. I like the country, but the people running my country at the moment are not nice people. And that's really what my prediction's about. It's a call to the good people, not just of Australia, but of the world. It's a call. It's a call from Nathan and a call from Jacob. It's a call for people to think about what they've got and what they could so easily lose. When you support people like Donald Trump and Peter Dutton, who some people describe as being Australia's little Trump, when you support those types of people, bullies basically, bullies who like to be demonize people from from certain countries, certain parts of the world, who call certain countries shithole countries and blatantly discriminate against some people based on their religion and their skin colour. And the Rohingya Muslims of Myanmar are a great example, because what's been done to them, and it's a Buddhist majority country, Myanmar, it used to be called Burma. It's right next door to Bangladesh, which is right next door to India. Bangladesh is also Muslim majority country. These people who say they care about religious freedom, but then they discriminate against people of other religions, they're scary. They're scary people. And what's happened in Myanmar is terrible. It's about as bad as you get. I mean, it's not just one or two kids either. Lots of kids thrown into fires to burn. I don't think you get any more evil than that. And when the government, the federal Commonwealth government of Australia, chooses to maintain relationships as normal with the military, the Myanmar military, and doesn't condemn their actions, doesn't react diplomatically, doesn't change its training arrangements with its military, just no reaction is breathtaking. But Donald Trump also, on the night that he gave his speech to the UN, where he said the USA might have to totally destroy North Korea, And then he went on to talk about other countries that he deemed to be evil or a problem. He talked about Iran, he talked about Venezuela, he talked about, I don't know, a few countries, and he never mentioned Myanmar. And at that time, it had just been all over the news for the last 2 weeks, what was happening in Myanmar. He never mentioned it. And if that isn't pure racism at its absolute worst, choosing to ignore the victims of terrorism because you're hell-bent on painting them and people of that religion as terrorists, well, that's scary evil. That's like Nazism. And there's no other way you can look at it. So this is a call from Jacob and Nathan to the world that you are in danger. Jacob was obviously in big danger for a good hour or two before he died at the hands of Daniel Heinrich, who was a child kidnapper, and he killed Jake after molesting him, shot him. And this was a guy who, when the police raided his home in 2016, they found a big photo of Adolf Hitler and Heinrich Himmler, and a big portrait of them on his wall in his house. They also found a Christian Bible with a page cut out and ripped out, and a line that had been underlined. Those 13 children that they just found in California, chained to their beds, they were, some of those kids could recite the entire Bible. That's something that the parents, well, they were homeschooled, and their homeschooling consisted of reading the Bible, knowing, memorizing, in some cases, the entire Bible. So there is definitely a very dark, cruel, heartless side to religion, and that's what this call is about. It's a warning to the world, you're heading in a bad direction. You are actually like Jake right now in the back seat of the car, handcuffed. And you're not quite sure what to do. And when bad stuff starts to happen, you're going to say, what did I do wrong? Which is precisely the question Nathan asked himself on the 7th of February 2009 at around 6 p.m. What did I do wrong? What did I do to deserve this? And the horrifying truth is, he didn't do anything, and nor did Jacob. They might pretend to be bad boys, and they might even like being punished as if they are bad boys, as part of their journey towards healing in some other world. But they did not do anything wrong when they were here. And you don't have to do anything wrong for horrible things to happen to you, because this is just a world of cause and effect. And it doesn't care. It doesn't care any more than what the governments care when they kill their people. Some people end up being like the world itself. They end up being cruel, heartless, and just empty. They have no compassion, they have no love, and they just process people like people are disposable products. And it's pretty sad, but that's how it is. So yeah, that's the prophecy of Jacob Wetterling and Nathan Breeze. Jacob Wetterling from the town of St. Joseph in Minnesota, USA, and Nathan Breeze from Kinglake West, but also from Darwin in Australia. Kinglake West in Victoria, Darwin in the Northern Territory. Angel Boys. Genuine Angel Boys.